Yo, what's up, comic compadres, and welcome back to the Hoodrat podcast. And I got another interview, and today I got Ray Anthony Height. What's going on, Mr. Height? Can
What's
I call you
up?
Height or Ray?
Ray, I'll prefer.
Ray, what's up, Ray? How you doing, Ray?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good, man. It's nice to meet you, man. I was, I did a interview with someone else. They said you got to go see Ray because Ray got some good stuff, man. So Ray, before we start, can you let everybody, my audience, know where they can find you, and if there's any future projects that you have?
Okay. You can find me pretty much anywhere under R.A. Height. That's at Instagram, or Art of R.A. Height is at Instagram. Twitter, R.A. Height.
Okay.
I got a Tumblr, R.A. Height, or put in raheight.com.
Okay.
That's it. You can find me easy. I'm the only one, so that's it.
Do you have any future projects that you have going on that you want to let
right
everybody
now, so I just got my rights back to my creator-owned title, Midnight Tiger.
know? Okay.
And that's going to be rebooted.
Midnight Tiger right there.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
there you go. Creator Midnight Tiger.
So that's going to be rebooted, and I'm finishing up that Kickstarter.
Okay.
So that's the next thing for me that's coming out. I have some other projects I can't really discuss right now, but when they're announced, just check that out. Check R.A. Height. I announce stuff all the time.
Can you tell me more about Midnight Tiger? I'm interested.
So I basically refined the elevator pitch to what if Peter Parker was in Gotham?
Okay. Oh, okay.
So, and it's really more of a coming of age thing, but also it's kind of it's one of those things where you ask yourself what it means to be a hero. It's not like My Hero Academia, where it's about Deku becoming a hero and his journey to being the world's greatest. It's not like that.
Okay.
It's more like, what does that mean to the public?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you see Superman and you're a civilian, you feel like everything's going to be okay because that's the energy he brings.
Uh-huh.
When you see Batman, there's another kind of energy called things about to get real right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Yep.
It's a little more fear-based,
Uh-huh.
right? Or Spider-Man, where it's like, this is a guy from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right? Who's
The
looking
friendly
out for us.
neighborhood Spider-Man.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that feeling as a civilian is what this is about, and how it inspires you to either step up and kind of be your own hero,
Okay.
or to pay it forward
Okay.
and look out for everyone else in your community.
Okay.
That's what this is about.
So is Midnight Tiger, is he like a fanboy turn hero?
No, actually, he is a hero fan
Hero fan.
because he understands what that means.
Got you.
You know, he's you have to read the book. I'm not going to give too much away.
Okay.
But he understands what that actually means to people.
Okay.
Especially people without powers who can't jump in there and, let's say, defend themselves, whatever.
Uh-huh.
But there's ways people can be heroes without going out and fighting crime.
Gotcha.
And that's what that's about, how you inspire others with the things you do.
Oh.
Because in his mind, this is not a costume.
Uh-huh.
This is a uniform. Everybody's got a uniform. When you see the uniform,
Uh-huh.
you know what that means, right?
Yep.
When you see the shield on
Yep.
Superman's chest, you know what that means. That's
Yeah.
not a costume. You
Uh-huh.
know what I mean? Because a costume is somebody pretending to be something they
Okay.
aren't. A uniform is a job you do that represents, this is what I'm here for.
Oh.
And that is what this is about.
Okay. No, that's dope, man. That's a dope way to put it, man.
Oh, thank
Like
you.
the costume represents responsibility.
Exactly. So that when he goes out there and people see that, it's not this is goofy costume kind of thing. They feel a certain way when they see that in his neighborhood,
Okay.
right? Because he's a neighborhood hero,
Okay.
but he will inspire others.
Okay.
So
What heroes inspired you, man? What heroes are you?
Spider-Man. I'm a Spider-Man fan, man.
Spider-Man fan. Did you see the new movie yet?
I have not, so no spoilers, right?
All right, man. Give me $10 and I won't spoil it for you right now. I don't play.
Look, I'll give you 100.
No, man. I give you my spoiler. It's very entertaining. Very entertaining.
That's what I've been
And
hearing.
for us old guys, it's very entertaining.
So I heard it's a lot of good fan service in it, so it's
good, man. Hey, man. You've also worked with DC and you worked with
Marvel.
Marvel?
Yeah, mostly Marvel.
Mostly Marvel?
Just recently DC.
Just recently DC, but tell my audience, like, what have you worked on in Marvel? Because you worked on some, good books, right?
Girl and Devil Dinosaur. You got to watch out for that.
Issues?
Issue 14 was my first issue.
Okay.
The non-smoking issue. I want to say it's issue 42, where Moon Girl first meets Spider-Man. That's one of my favorite issues that I got a chance to do. A few more scattered in there, but yeah.
And you did the interiors, yeah?
Yeah, I do the interiors. Didn't give me a chance to do any covers, but I did. I think 5 or 6 issues. I worked on 5 or 6 issues.
So as an artist,
yeah.
you know, like I recently I'm talking to David Nakayama about this, and we talked about, you know, I brought up, hey David, like you, not only are you the artist that you do the penciling, but it looks like you use Photoshop to do the inking and the coloring. Yeah. Like, let's talk about that, man. Like, what is the world like to be an artist now? Do you need to be a great artist with a pencil, or do you need to be a great artist with a great with pencil and have that digital knowledge?
Well, the art comes from you, right? The pencil is just the tool.
Yeah.
So you can, if you know how to bring what's in here to the page or to the screen or whatever, doesn't matter what you use. That being said, companies now are looking for people who can do everything.
Okay.
I guess it makes it easier because it's one thing to wrangle one person than to wrangle 3 people or 4 people, and you're passing the baton, right?
Yep.
But if one person's in charge of all of that, you don't have to worry about that person. And then as a creator, you have more control. So there's good and bad to everything. I like the collaborative part of comics. So I can do something and I pass it to my inker, and then they add their spin, their talent to it, and then they give it to the colorist and then the letterer. It's a whole cool thing to see because we're making this cool comic soup, right? But if there's a clear vision that you have, then you should do it all. Okay. And that means you got to learn all the aspects of the craft.
So are you a Photoshop guy also too? That pencils and inks and colors.
I do all of that. Clip Studio Paint though, for me. Okay. Yeah, Clip Studio Paint is like, I mean, Photoshop I use from time to time to do different things. Okay. But my main app is Clip Studio Paint, and I ink in there. I do colors in there. That's like, to make comics, that is like a comic making app.
Can I ask you, man, because I'm not an artist. Do you do that on an iPad? Do you do that on a tablet? Do you do that on a computer?
I use a Cintiq. So Wacom Cintiq. You can do it. I would say like if you go on a tablet, I would say Procreate. Procreate, okay. Yeah, Clip Studio does have a tablet version of the app. It's good, but Procreate specifically for the app, I would probably edge that out. Okay. Because you can do some really awesome stuff. I know folks in our industry, some peers that do all full comics. Okay. On Procreate, so that's a good app for the pad. But for at home, like I said, I use the Cintiq, Wacom Cintiq. So. Okay. Did you have to go to school to learn all this, or did you learn this on your own? I had this conversation recently, where when I first went to school, and I ended up going to Brooks College, which is now defunct. Okay. But before I went there, I already was making comics. Okay. I was already doing this stuff, and I was going there to learn. As a matter of fact, when I started there, I was teaching fine art. Really? So you were a fine art kind of a master already. Well, I wouldn't say master, but yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're teaching it, you kind of mastered it. So, and you had to go back to learn the digital side of it, right? Well, no. Back then, when I went. When was back then? When was back then? What year was this? I would say it was like 2001, 2002. Okay. Yeah. So. Oh wow. Okay. Oh yeah, that was a while back, and. When I went there, I went for graphic design because they had a cool, supposedly graphic design program. This is the first year they had animation. So I showed my portfolio because that's all I heard. I really wanted to go to Art Center. Yep. Art Center was too expensive. Okay. So I went there and I showed my portfolio, and they were like, no, we're going to put you in this new program, the animation program. And I got there, and I'm going to say 85% of my class could not draw. Okay. Right, and I ended up having better conversations with my teachers, who was there. That's who I hung out with, the teachers. But the best thing about that class, life drawing. Okay. That's one thing I wasn't getting. Okay. Is the life drawing part. So I definitely appreciate that aspect, and I learned how to animate, even though I was an animation fan, and I was teaching myself to animate anyway. So we did that. Our first year in my class, we got the award for best animated short. Awesome, man. Yeah, so, and the whole thing was to intern at Film Roman to work on The Simpsons. I ended up leaving before then, you know, but it was a good experience all in all.
How important is it for artists to learn like the digital side of being an artist now?
I would say it's important for commercial stuff, you know, but I don't advocate for one side or the other.
Okay.
Learn traditional. That's your foundation. You do that, you can translate that anywhere. You can translate that digitally, however you want to do it. But you need to learn traditionally to get your foundations in. And you can take that. Remember, I was saying earlier, it's a tool. Like, it's not like, oh, I can't draw now, but if I work digitally, I'm a master artist. No, you still suck, right?
Yeah.
Right? But if you can do it traditionally, then you can do it anywhere. It's just learning the tool.
Learn the tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a very interesting. It's been a very interesting conversation with a lot of artists I've been talking to. You know. Yeah. About like being the one-shop stop. You know, like.
Yeah.
But then
I got some friends I admire for that.
But at the same time, like, I get what you're saying about like you lose that collaborative effort, that team effort. Yeah, that adds like nuances that you wouldn't have thought of. Right?
Yep,
like, you know,
exactly.
It makes it this awesome piece of like, you know, art that you wouldn't have came up by yourself. You know, like,
exactly.
You know,
and that's the plus side of it. The negative side of it is, let's say they'll do something, and you don't care for it.
Yeah.
You know, it completely goes south.
Yeah.
So everything's got a good and a bad. But then if it's all you, guess who you have to blame when it doesn't go well?
Yep.
Yourself.
You. Yep. So. Yeah. You. Is there any advice that you would give to like, you know, a kid, 18-year-old kid trying to break into the industry?
Keep going. You can do this stuff all yourself. You don't need anybody else to do it. It's better now than ever it's ever been. If you want to break into comics, I know this is going to sound terrible and not great advice, but it is the truth. And any artist worth his salt in professional game will tell you, if you want to do comics, do comics.
Do comics. Okay.
Period. You can do webtoons. You could do have your own like regular web comic. You can do Patreon, whatever you want to do. If you love to do comics, then just do them.
Okay.
And people will see it. They'll see the passion. So just do it. If you want to break into Marvel and DC, that's a whole other animal.
Yeah, okay.
You know? But it's still the same thing. They want to see you already doing it. They don't want any fly-by-night people. They want people with the same passion for doing this, and that means doing it yourself. If you're already doing it yourself and you're good, right? They're like, I'm going to give this person a shot because they've done comics for 2 or 3 years on their own without the big boys, right? Well, the big boys are going to say, we're calling you up.
Okay.
You know, so just do it.
Just do it.
Don't wait for anyone.
Yeah, so I'm saying, when people ask me about like podcasts, I'm like, you just got to do it. You just got to put yourself on the camera and just like do whatever you want to do and make it better as it goes, man. You know?
Exactly.
Right.
Don't overthink it, right?
Don't overthink it. Just do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is another interesting question I've been asking a lot of artists and writers. What do you need to create? Like, what atmosphere do you need to create?
For me, it's like no disturbing zone. Like
silence?
Not complete silence. I like music. Sometimes I listen to podcasts.
Okay.
I used to try to.
What podcast you listen? That's another one like that.
Oh wow, it depends. Pencil to Pencil is one of my favorites.
Okay.
So plugged for Pencil to Pencil. Let's see. There's a couple of other ones I see. You gave me. This is the one I should have thought about.
Yeah.
I would have plugged a bunch of people.
I know, man. I mean, but you know, it's interesting for you because what you listen to, it lets other artists know. Like, I need to listen to that too.
Oh, yeah.
My what's that? My something life. Like, like there's a lot of different ones that like artists always kind of.
Oh yeah, there's some really good podcasts out
It's
there.
really good stuff.
And I bounce around. Like Proco has a podcast.
Yep.
That they do. Is it called Craftsman? It's something like that. Yeah. No, Draftsman. It's called Draftsman, and that's a good podcast, especially industry stuff. You know, they teach you about not just the craft of making art itself, but being a professional. You know, it's really great, and it's a lot of YouTube stuff. So,
what else do you need to create, like besides podcasts and a little bit of music?
I don't know. I think I need to have a clear head.
Okay.
I need to take myself out of stresses and the day-to-day. But if you're a professional, you need to be able to do this under the most stressful situations, right? Because you can't wait for inspiration and you can't wait for all this. Like what you and I are talking about are like optimal conditions.
Yep.
Yeah. But like here, there's people walking around, there's people talking, we're doing an interview, right? But you saw when you walked up, I was cranking on a
right
piece,
there.
right?
That piece right there.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where you have to be able to do it anywhere, right?
Deadlines. People know about deadlines, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The deadline monster is always looming.
The deadline monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a lot of deadlines I got to get done with for
look,
work.
same here.
You know,
same
and
here.
I'm trying to podcast at the same time, but we just got to do it.
You just see, there
We
you
just
go.
got to
Right?
do it, man.
Just do it. Don't wait.
Hey, man, and one last question, man.
What's up?
What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Don't take any breaks.
Don't take any breaks?
Don't take any breaks. Just do this because you love it. Don't pretend to try to do something else because you're not sure. And take every opportunity as an opportunity to do your best. There's no bad opportunities, right?
Okay. Yep.
So just do your best all the time.
Hey, Ray, I want to thank you for coming on the Hoodrat podcast, man.
Thanks for having me.
Keep up the great work. And you're always welcome to come on with me on stream too, man.
Hit me up. I'm open. I love a good podcast, man.
All right, man. Ray Anthony Height. You can catch him there at www.raheight.com, man.
All right.
Thank you, bro.